South London, Rye Lane, Peckham. The street smells of suya before you see it. Smoke from charcoal grills drifts past hair braiding salons, African fabric shops, cargo shipping agents, and grocery stores stacked with ogi, bitter cola, and yam flour. On weekends, the crowd thickens. Teenagers speaking Yoruba, mothers comparing pepper prices, a man in Agbada nodding at another in Dashiki. Somewhere nearby, a church congregation is warming up. This is Peckham. This is what Nigerians built here. Gold has been trading in Peckham for 17 years. His shop, Gold Enterprise, has survived everything the neighborhood has thrown at it. Ask him what Peckham really is, and he answers without hesitation.
The kind of place where people really like coming.
Okay.
If you've seen anyone like very long time in Nigeria come to Peckham, I could assure you, under 2-3 hours, you'll see the person again.
A meeting point. Not just a neighborhood. A gravitational center for a community scattered across one of the world's largest cities. Another business owner describes the feeling from the inside.
When you're in Peckham, you feel as if you are staying in Nigeria.
That may be the simplest explanation for what Nigerians built here. According to the 2021 UK census, more than 270,000 people in England and Wales identified Nigeria as their country of birth, the third largest nationality group in the United Kingdom. The overwhelming majority live in London. Community estimates, which account for second and third generation Nigerians, British-born citizens of Nigerian descent, and those who arrived without documentation, place the Nigerian population in Greater London at between 180,000 and 220,000. Some estimates go even higher. In 2024 alone, approximately 52,000 Nigerians relocated to the United Kingdom, making Nigeria one of the top 5 non-European sources of migration to Britain. Their connection to home never stopped. In 2023, the United Kingdom became the largest source of remittances to Nigeria, with Nigerians in Britain sending home more than $12.38 billion, more than any other country in the world. They are in hospitals, law firms, city banks, street food stalls at Old Street, tailoring workshops off Oxford Street, running Africa's largest restaurant chain from Lewisham, teaching in Southwark schools, shipping containers of yam and crayfish back to Peckham's markets, worshipping in white garment churches, braiding hair, burying the dead, naming the newborn. As one local chef put it,
you know, if you're a Nigerian and then you're in Peckham, you won't miss too much.
Yep.
Because the Nigerian brothers are everywhere.
the community isn't confined to one street or one neighborhood. It exists through thousands of relationships spread across one of the world's largest cities. Nigerians call the United Kingdom their 37th state. Nigeria has 36 states. The United Kingdom is the unofficial 37th, not built through government policy, but through decades of migration, entrepreneurship, family, and community. One of the people who helped build that story is Adebayo, the founder of Inish, now the world's largest African restaurant chain. When asked what drives him, his answer was simple.
My vision now is representing Africa in those spots, because the vision is to put Nigeria on that map.
Tonight, we travel from Gold's shop on Rye Lane to Bayo's restaurants across London, from the churches of Peckham to the fashion stores off Oxford Street, the lunch queues of the City of London, the NHS wards of East London, and the living rooms of Nigerian families across the capital, to discover how one of Britain's most educated, entrepreneurial, and fastest-growing immigrant communities quietly became one of London's indispensable foundations, building not just a neighborhood, but an entire unofficial state. A story about migration, ambition, identity, community, and the invisible networks connecting Nigeria and London every single day. This is the human map, because when people move, the map moves with them. Sometimes not into one neighborhood, but into an entire city. Subscribe and explore the communities, cultures, and hidden networks quietly reshaping the world. Nigerians have been settling in South London since the 1960s, when Nigerian independence brought a new wave of students and professionals to Britain. By the 1970s, the first Nigerian churches were establishing themselves across Peckham, Brixton, and Hackney. By the 1980s, as Nigeria's oil boom collapsed, the migration shifted in character. It became less about return and more about staying. Mikey Energy, whose real name is Lel Moore, has watched all of it. He has lived in London for 37 years and has been running youth programs at Dr. Harold Moody Park for 28 of them. He remembers when the neighborhood had a very different reputation.
Well, as people would always know who been here long, it was always Peckham, they would say the ghetto and Brixton. Yeah, and the swap now, you don't even got to fear nothing, man. Yeah, the guys, everybody now understand now we look out for each other.
The transformation Mikey describes was not engineered by the council. It was built by the community itself. One business, one church, one family at a time. Walk Rye Lane today, and the evidence is everywhere. Irene Gold runs a hair braiding and styling stall and has been building her client base in Peckham for more than 3 years, using TikTok to reach a new generation of customers. She summarizes the immigrant mindset in a single sentence.
Africa, we love us.
Africans, they are hustlers.
Yeah, London is just to make money. Nigeria is to enjoy your life. That's all.
So you made the money, go back.
You go back and enjoy.
Not far from Irene's stall, the smell of suya leads to Kay's Grill. Kay arrived in London in 2005 to complete a master's degree. He spent the next 13 years in education, teaching, and eventually managing a primary school nursery. In 2018, he left teaching entirely and committed himself full-time to the street food stall he had built on the side. He has now been cooking suya on Rye Lane for 6 years, operating with a council market license and sourcing supplies from the neighborhood around him. His philosophy is simple.
You're talking about quantity. How quality? Quality, not quantity.
Tourists from Switzerland and Germany now make the trip to Peckham specifically for his food. He explains why the neighborhood keeps pulling people back.
Boss, there's nothing you want in Peckham that you're not finding. Nothing. Anything you want in Peckham, definitely find it. As long as it's in Nigeria, and it's not being banned, so we'll bring it in.
Behind the street stalls is a deeper economy. Holly Yusuf bought her Peckham shop in 2008 and gradually transformed it from a business selling religious items and cosmetics into a direct import operation, shipping food containers from Nigeria to supply local residents and businesses. Peckham is not just where Nigerians buy Nigerian goods. It is a distribution hub, with supply chains stretching back to Lagos, Kano, and Owerri. The spiritual infrastructure runs just as deep. Isaiah is the shepherd at the Celestial Church of Christ, City of the Living God parish, and has lived in London for 30 years. His description of what the church provides captures everything.
We are happy people, and we worship God. If anyone comes here around 4 o'clock, this place will jump upstairs and downstairs. So there are a lot to eat and dance and then pray to God.
Then there is Tessie, who has run her hair salon near Burger King in Peckham since 2004, raising her children in the neighborhood while watching it change around her. She sees what is coming with clear eyes.
It's getting very busy. Before, no white people want to stay around. It's just literally black people. But now, like, white people are beginning to dominate the areas now. Getting a property here now is very expensive.
Margaret Jimmy Taiwo has worked as a community practitioner in Southwark and Peckham for more than 20 years. She names what is being lost.
So I love Peckham because you can get everything. What I don't really appreciate is the fact that it becomes so gentrified. We want the old Peckham, we love the old Peckham, we love to see what's happening, and we love the mix. I think the gentrification issue, not just for us as Africans, but for everybody.
The same forces that reshaped historic Filipino town in Los Angeles, Steinway Street in Queens, and Chinatowns across North America are beginning to reshape Peckham as well. The community that built Little Lagos is watching the rest of London discover what it built and slowly begin to price them out of it. But Dr. Ike Austin, who opened his pharmacy here 4 to 5 years ago, has no intention of leaving. His reason is simple.
Peckham is known and popular for ethnic minority, especially Nigerians. A large chunk of Nigerians come to do business here, and the choice for Peckham is just obvious. It's like we're coming back home.
Because places like Peckham are never built overnight. They are built over decades. One family, one shop, one church, one customer at a time. And once a community learns how to build a neighborhood, the next question becomes whether it can build an economy. The Nigerian entrepreneurial story in London does not begin in a restaurant. It begins in a church kitchen. In 2001, a woman named Kenny catered a 3-day convention at Christ Chapel Church in London. The response was so strong that her pastor encouraged her to turn it into a business. She resigned from her job and started delivering food out of the back of her car to African hair salons, barber shops, and high street vendors in Canning Town. Later came a partnership with Club Africa, where she ran the kitchen. Then a standalone restaurant on Homerton High Street in Hackney. She built it over 2 decades alongside her husband, who co-founded the business. Their restaurant is called Echo. Now, as Kenny and her husband approach their 60s, they are passing the torch to their children, Ben, Monica J., and Enola J., who are taking the business into its next chapter with a new restaurant in Hackney Wick, complete with a cocktail bar and rooftop terrace.
The Echo restaurant journey begins 20 years ago.
It started from the church in 2001.
We started from back of my car, delivering food to African hair stylists, barber shop, and African food vendors.
Maybe 10 years ago, you would have considered Nigerian food or this business to be a niche business. But now I truly see it expanding into a cuisine that is being widely accepted in this country.
A different journey brought Adedeo David Eweje to London. He spent 7 years working in telecommunications in Lagos. Still unfulfilled, he began designing menswear and selling it from the boot of his car, driving from one bank headquarters to another after work. His first store opened in Victoria Island in September 2008. Within 5 years, there were 6 locations across Lagos. Then, the UK orders started arriving. Rather than keep shipping suits across continents, he opened a store on Great Portland Street, just off Oxford Street. He kept the name that mattered most.
David Wedge, Lagos.
Lagos. So the Lagos is key.
Yeah,
no matter where you set it up.
Of course.
He was never under any illusion that London would work exactly like Lagos.
When I came, of course, I came with the Nigerian strategy. But of course, I had to unlearn so many things to start learning how things are done in the UK, most especially looking at sustainability.
His story represents one version of Nigerian entrepreneurship in Britain. Lagos remained the center. London became the global showroom. Then there is Bayo, the founder of Enish. He arrived in London in 2005 on a student visa. He worked in restaurant kitchens. He saved. Then, in 2013, he opened the first Enish in Lewisham, a vacant, run-down unit in South London that most people overlooked. He had a theory about what the market needed, and an even stronger theory about where it belonged.
There's this thing about London, they say, oh, they don't want black in Central. So they put that one in our head. So I decided to find out myself.
So he opened Nigerian restaurants where many believed Nigerian restaurants could never succeed.
My selling point is do a local food in a 5-star environment. I only focus on posh areas like Central, where you believe no Nigerian can have a business there.
Today, Enish has 9 locations across London, with 3 more on the way. 2 flagship restaurants in Dubai, including a $4 million venue at Palm Jumeirah. More than 300 employees in the United Kingdom, and plans to expand across 20 states in the United States, targeting places like Times Square and Beverly Hills. By almost every measure, it has become the largest African restaurant chain in the world. Bayo's vision has never been simply to open restaurants. It is much bigger than that.
My vision now is representing Africa in those spots, to put Nigeria on that map.
From Kenny's car boot in Canning Town, to Adedeo's boot of a car in Lagos, to Bayo's dining room overlooking Palm Jumeirah. 3 journeys, 3 different beginnings, the same destination. Making Nigeria visible. Not through speeches, not through politics, but through businesses people choose to walk into every single day. Yet building businesses is only part of the story. The next challenge is persuading an entire city to embrace a cuisine many people had never tasted before. There are more than 400 Nigerian restaurants in London. Old Kent Road in South London has the highest concentration of any street in the city. A 3-mile stretch transformed over decades into what one local broadcaster calls the heart of London's Nigerian culinary scene. But in recent years, something shifted. Nigerian food stopped staying south of the river. Akeem is 25 years old. He holds a first-class degree in chemical engineering from the University of Lagos, an MSc in entrepreneurship from University College London, and an LLM in international business law from the University of Law. He spent 2 years working in financial services in the City of London before noticing something that seemed obvious once he saw it.
I found that when me and my co-workers go for lunch, we have all sorts of cuisines from across the world. We have Thai, we have Chinese, we have Indian, we have Greek, we have Italian. But there was an underrepresentation of West African cuisine, and that was what inspired me to take action, right, and to birth what is now City Jollof.
He launched City Jollof at Old Street in the heart of London's technology and finance district. He applied his chemical engineering degree to food safety and process optimization. He applied his law degree to compliance with local councils and regulators. He applied his entrepreneurship degree to loyalty programs and customer-first service. The result surprised even him.
So far, it's exceeded my expectations, right? Majority of our customers are non-Nigerians. They are trying jollof rice for the first time.
Aziz and his partner at Two Nigerian Boys discovered something similar. They launched their street food stall at Spitalfields Market in London's financial district in February 2019. On their very first day, they sold out in just 30 minutes. Soon afterwards, they left their day jobs. By 6 o'clock every morning, They are already cooking on site. Between noon and 2 o'clock, they serve between 100 and 200 portions. Around 90% of their customers are non-African office workers trying Nigerian street food for the very first time. Today, they have a permanent location in Brixton, corporate catering contracts, and regular pop-up appearances at Waterloo. In Brixton, Agatha, better known as Sato, opened her physical restaurant in February 2026 after more than 30 years living in the area. She began with law, then cake decorating, then catering, and finally, a restaurant. She named it Sato's Kitchen after her Edo name, Usatame, meaning, God has shown me mercy. She chose Brixton deliberately, and she realized that the same gentrification many residents feared had also created an unexpected opportunity. Non-African customers were increasingly willing, even eager, to try Nigerian food. European, Asian, and American diners now sit beside the Nigerian families she has served for decades. She keeps the recipes traditional while adjusting spice levels for customers taking their first steps into Nigerian cuisine. What Akeem, Aziz, and Agatha are doing, independently in different parts of London, is remarkably similar. They are moving Nigerian food from the diaspora kitchen into mainstream London's dining room. They are not changing the food to fit the city. They are inviting the city to discover the food. Bayo from Enish says it with the confidence of someone who has already proved it. Don't follow what people do. Just do your own. Be on service and tell your own story. People are like, oh, you need to adapt to the American palate. No. They need our food. It's good. Let them come and try. Let them understand our own palates. For decades, Nigerian food helped immigrants remember home. Today, it is introducing London to Nigeria. And while chefs, restaurateurs, and entrepreneurs were quietly changing what London eats, another group of Nigerians was quietly changing how London heals. The next story unfolds inside Britain's hospitals. Nigeria is now the second largest source of foreign-trained doctors in the United Kingdom, behind only India. As of late 2023, more than 12,000 Nigerian-trained doctors held UK medical licenses. Between May and December 2023 alone, a further 1,197 Nigerian doctors were licensed to practice in Britain. In 2024, another wave followed. The JAPA phenomenon has taken approximately 94,000 doctors and nurses out of Nigeria since the migration wave began accelerating. Nigeria's doctor-to-patient ratio has fallen to approximately 1 doctor for every 10,000 patients, nearly 17 times worse than the World Health Organization's minimum recommendation. 5 wards at Lagos University Teaching Hospital were closed because of staff shortages. The Nigerian Medical Association has warned that the country could eventually face the unprecedented situation of importing doctors from abroad. Many of those doctors are now in London. For thousands of Nigerian medical professionals, the journey into the NHS follows a remarkably similar path. Years of medical school in Nigeria, professional examinations, registration, visa applications, then a flight north, and the beginning of an entirely different life. They arrive in a healthcare system that urgently needs them, but also in a city where almost everything must be relearned. A new hospital, a new medical culture, a new accent across the consultation room, a new transport system carrying them across London before sunrise. And outside the hospital, the ordinary mathematics of migration begins. Rent, transport, groceries, sending money home, finding a church, finding Nigerian food, finding people who understand where you came from. For some, this is exactly what JAPA promised, the chance to take years of education, and turn them into a more secure professional future. But there is another side to that journey. Because while Britain gains another trained doctor, Nigeria loses one. And for some Nigerian doctors who arrive here, even the promise of Britain comes with conditions they never expected. Then there is Dr. Augustine's story. Investigated by BBC Newsnight, his case exposed the conditions that a private recruitment company, NES Healthcare, placed Nigerian doctors under. 24-hour on-call availability for 7 consecutive days. Shifts running from 7 a.m. until 11 p.m., followed by overnight calls. Contracts opting doctors out of the UK's Working Time Directive. Salary deductions for calling in sick. Financial penalties worth thousands of pounds for leaving before the required 3-month notice period. Dr. Augustine described what that week felt like.
I still feel anxious because, I can't explain what it means like just being confined to this place for 7 days, 24/7.
He understood the danger immediately.
I knew that working tired puts the patients at risk and puts myself also at risk as well for litigation and all.
Dr. Jenny Vaughan of the Doctors Association UK described what she saw in the practices exposed by the investigation.
This is a slave-type work with low pay and excess hours, the like of which we thought had been gone 30 years ago. It is not acceptable for patient safety reasons. It is not acceptable for doctors.
The deeper structural paradox is this. Nigeria is on the World Health Organization's Red List, a register of countries with such critical health worker shortages that WHO guidelines discourage the active recruitment of their medical professionals by wealthier nations. And yet, the British Council and the General Medical Council continue organizing large-scale PLAB examinations in Lagos for hundreds of Nigerian candidates each year. The BBC Newsnight investigation left one question hanging over the entire system. How can any institution claim to protect countries on the WHO Red List while depending on those same countries to keep its own healthcare system functioning? Two realities exist inside the same NHS. The doctor who arrived running toward a better life and is building one, and the system that needed her so urgently that it recruited her from a country whose own healthcare system is struggling because so many doctors have already left. The Nigerian story in London isn't only about opportunity. It's also about what Nigeria loses every time London gains. And nowhere is that balance more visible than inside the families and communities these migrants continue to build across the city. Peckham is the most famous Nigerian neighborhood in London. It is not the only one. Woolwich Arsenal in East London is described by community members as the second largest Nigerian settlement in the city, a concentration that has grown significantly over the past decade as rising housing costs pushed families out of inner South London boroughs. Hackney, Tottenham, Lewisham, Waltham Forest. Each carries a significant Nigerian population. The community does not exist in one place. It spreads along transport corridors, school catchment areas, and the practical logic of where rents remain affordable and Nigerian churches are still within reach on a Sunday morning. The intergenerational story is becoming increasingly sophisticated. Jacob Antiga's documentary on Peckham captured his father's arrival in Britain in December 1999. 32 years old, a 3-piece suit, no winter coat, landing in a British winter that nobody had warned him about. The next generation tells a different story. Visual artist Ink Sanixty grew up moving between Abuja and London, switching accents depending on which world he was navigating, building an identity that belongs fully to both places rather than choosing between them. That generational shift reaches all the way into British politics. In late 2024, Kemi Badenoch became leader of the UK Conservative Party, the first person of Nigerian heritage to lead a major British political party. The reaction inside London's Nigerian community was anything but simple. In Woolwich Arsenal, where a documentary crew gathered opinions, some celebrated her achievement regardless of political differences. Others strongly disagreed with her positions on immigration and argued that some of her comments about Nigeria distanced her from the community she came from. The community was not united. It was Nigerian in its argument, loud, specific, opinionated, and unwilling to flatten complexity into a simple answer. The community also reaches far beyond its own boundaries. Salma, who is originally from Sierra Leone with Guinean roots, has lived in London for 25 years. She still remembers who gave her the opportunity that changed her life.
And my first proper job, like office job, was given to me by a Nigerian. Even though I had the qualification, I couldn't get a job. But he got me a job, promoted me to be a office manager. So whatever I've got in London today, it's partly because of him.
A Nigerian solicitor in North London opened a door for a Sierra Leonean woman. She walked through it, built a 25-year professional career, and never forgot who trusted her first. That single act of recognition, one immigrant seeing another immigrant's qualifications and choosing to believe in them, is part of the invisible infrastructure of Nigerian London. Then there is Sal, a Nigerian man visiting London on a visa. He describes the quiet anxiety of navigating a foreign city as a Black African man wearing traditional clothing. The constant awareness, the fear that ordinary curiosity could be misunderstood. The knowledge that, as a visitor, his story could easily be rewritten by someone else. His conclusion is simple.
I came here based on a visa. I know I'm not from here, and then everything, the whole story will be turned around. So that's why every time I travel, wherever I go to, I just do what has brought me and I go back home. I'm happier being home.
Not everyone who comes wants to stay. Not every Nigerian in London is building an empire, or opening a restaurant, or joining the NHS. Some are passing through. Some are completing their studies. Some are doing business. Some are simply visiting. Some find London full of opportunity. Others find it exhausting. The community contains all of those experiences. Funke Teresa, who moved from Nigeria to London and documented her life with remarkable honesty, perhaps captures that balance best. She appreciates the NHS, the efficiency of public transport, the multicultural comfort of hearing Yoruba spoken in a Dalston market. But she also talks about the housing costs, the cold, the loneliness, the currency conversion that makes one tuber of yam feel expensive. She romanticizes neither country. She simply describes the mathematics of living between two homes. Because that may be the real story of London's Nigerian community. Not that everyone succeeds, not that everyone struggles, but that hundreds of thousands of people continue negotiating two countries at once, building lives in Britain while remaining deeply connected to Nigeria. And nowhere is that more visible than where this journey began. Back in Peckham, where one street quietly became an entire country. At night, after the suya grills have cooled, Rye Lane does not go quiet. The churches carry their services into the evening. Restaurants fill with families who drove from Tottenham, Woolwich, and Waltham Forest because the Peckham spot is the one that tastes right. Somewhere nearby, a naming ceremony is being prepared for tomorrow. A cargo shipment is being arranged for next week. Yam, ogiri, dried fish, and all the ingredients that keep two countries connected across thousands of miles. That is Nigeria's 37th state. Not a place marked on a map, but a community built, one family, one business, one church, one patient, one restaurant, and one opportunity at a time. Gold told us at the very beginning that Peckham is a meeting point. Perhaps that's what London has become for hundreds of thousands of Nigerians. Not a replacement for home, but another place where home can exist. If you're Nigerian in London or anywhere in the world, what part of your community story do you think people still don't understand? We'd love to read your experiences in the comments. This is the human map. Because when people move, the map moves with them. And sometimes, they don't just build a neighborhood, they build an entire state. Subscribe and explore the communities, cultures, and hidden networks quietly reshaping the world.